In today's Parent Weekend event. Recently, I was driving in through the border, coming from Canada, and when I was stopped at the border police, they asked me, "What do you do?" So I said, "I work at the Rabbinical College of America. I'm the director of admissions." So it was the only time I pulled up to a border that there was no other car, and there were two officers. It looked like they were ready to have a good time. They said to me, "How do your students survive?" I said, "Aha, good question. Our students are trained, and they get a bachelor's degree, and we're working on a master's degree. We have students who go into chaplaincy in the military. We have students who go into chaplaincy in hospitals, plus many other opportunities. Some students network with previous degrees, some network with fellow students." And the officers were quite impressed. And you are here yourself today to testify to this fact and to give encouragement to your son and the other students and the other parents. And we thank you all for coming here. Our opening talk will be an address from the Rosh Yeshiva, the academic head, Rabbi Dubinsky.
Welcome, everyone. It's a big pleasure to see the parents of our children. We are the teachers, our students are our children, and it's a pleasure to see the parents. What I want to discuss now, briefly, is the objective of our yeshiva. Our yeshiva actually is not meant, our objective is not to produce practicing rabbis. That's not our objective. We study rabbinic literature, and we have students who are being ordained as rabbis, but the objective is not to be a pulpit rabbi. The objective of the yeshiva is to educate students to have a pride, a Jewish pride, a deep pride, a passionate pride in Judaism. That's one objective. There's another objective which comes very close to the first one, and that's called, I'll say the Jewish word for it, it's called menschlichkeit. I don't know the English translation, could someone help me out? Menschlichkeit. Decency, to be a decent person. In Yiddish it comes out, to be a mensch, to be a good person. So these are the two objectives of our yeshiva. Number one, pride, a deep pride. Number two, menschlichkeit. Now, how do we do this? How do we accomplish this? So most of the day, of the yeshiva day, from early morning, 7:30 a.m. until late at night, our students are studying Torah. Now, Torah is not human logic. It's godly logic. It's the logic and will of God. So we spend the whole day dedicating our focus, our mind, our attention to studying our holy Torah, the Torah of God. Now, Torah is called Torah's Chaim, the Torah of life. It's not just knowledge, it's not just godly knowledge, it's actually a way of life. And this is what God has delivered to the Jewish people, beginning with Mount Sinai. On Mount Sinai, God taught Torah to the Jewish people, not just knowledge, but a way of life. And ever since then, for more than 3,000 years, parents have been transmitting the Torah knowledge, the Torah way of life, generation after generation. And this is what has kept the Jewish people alive up to this day. The Torah's Chaim that we study, the living Torah that we study, that we practice. So therefore, you should know that when we, the teachers, teach Torah to our students, it's not just the imparting of knowledge. It's a life transmission. We're transmitting the life of a Jew. And we have our minds set for the future. When we teach our students, we are looking 10 years from now, 5 years from now, when the time comes and they build their own family with children, and they work. What we want is looking ahead in the future, is that each of our students should build a Yiddish mishpacha, a Jewish family. In Judaism, family is so pure, so holy, so important. And we want that our students should have shalom bayis, peace at home, getting along with each other, the husband and the wife, the parents and the children, to build up cohesive families, proud in their Judaism. And when a student leaves the yeshiva with a fire in Judaism, with a passion in Judaism, they're able to transmit this to their family, to their children, and to their environment. Baruch Hashem, thank God, I've been in this institution for about 27 years approximately, and I want you should know that students that have studied in our yeshiva a decade ago, 2 decades ago, many of them are still in contact with their teachers. Every one of the teachers of our school, on a daily basis, and I think many of our students don't even know that, but on a daily basis there are texts and there are emails and there are WhatsApps and there are calls and so on, all different types of communications, questions, because this institution is not just knowledge, it's a way of life, it's a passion for Judaism, it's Menschlichkeit. And this connection between teachers and students is maintained, for the most part, years later. And I can say with pride that to a large extent we have succeeded. When we look at our students, our former students, and we see many of them with families, with children that are already married, great-grandchildren. And I think with the help of God and with the dedication of our staff, the very strong dedication, our yeshiva has, for the most part, very much succeeded in our objective. And I'm sure that you parents that are here are already having this treasure called nachas. Nachas. How do you say nachas in English? How do you say nachas in English? Pride in your children. I'm sure many of you already have nachas, and I want to assure you that as time goes on, you will have more and more nachas from your children and grandchildren and so on. So thanks for coming, and please enjoy the breakfast.